Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Dark Shadows Reviews on Gemmy Master Animatronics, and what I have to review for you today is the Gemmy Life-Size 2018 Prototype Jack Skellington. Now, this item was at the Spirit Halloween flagship store. I actually went to the flagship store, saw it, and I asked for the display. Basically, what I said was, I said, "Hey, do you see that display model over there? Could I get it? Not the background, but the actual prop." He goes, "Well, we have a bunch that are in the box, so why don't you just get one of those?" I was like, I don't know. I just like the look of this one better. He was like, "All right, well, I can't sell it to you really." And then he changed it to, "I can't sell it till after the 28th." I said, "Well, could I pay for it now and pick it up on like the 29th or the 30th?" And then he says, "You know what? I really don't care. I'll just sell it to you now." So that's basically how I ended up with this item. Now, you might be wondering, well, what makes it a prototype? He has straight legs, and he also has hand painted fingers. His fingers are also extremely loose on the mechanism. His arm, also, I don't believe, I can't remember off the top of my head, but his arm here for the movement is down extremely low. Unlike on the produced model up there, as you can see, the arm is kind of bent. Here it's not, and I can actually move his arm around a little bit for the movement, which is different. His mouth has black paint smudges around the whole perimeter uh, where his mouth opens, and when you open it, it's gear controlled. Now, I think that the 2018 model is gear controlled. You could see it's hand painted in there. You could see kind of where it's rubbing off, or where they did it poorly there, as if it's hand painted. You see some black paint marks from the eyes or something there. And now, since that this item was produced, the item does not have any plaster on it. It's all produced pieces. However, the shoes are not, from what I know, produced. These are a lot thicker. I can really, move them around, and they're not going to break. They're not going to crack. They're a lot thicker of a plastic as opposed to the last year's model, which had very thin plastic shoes. I believe some of them, mine came with a very small crack in them. I think there are a few other people that had that issue. But before I continue talking, let me plug him in and show you what he does.
There's got to be a logical way to explain this Christmas thing. Interesting reaction. But what does it mean? Ah, Halloween's finest trick-or-treaters. The job I have for you is top secret. It requires craft, cunning. You're right. Something is missing. But what? I've got the beard, the coat, the boots. Ho, ho, ho! Ha, 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 ho! Who's next on my list? Ah! Come on, Zero. Christmas isn't over yet. Oh! Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be home. Merry Christmas. Sandy Claus, in person. What a pleasure to meet you. Mr. Claus, I'm afraid I've made a terrible mess of your holiday. There's got to be a logical way to explain this Christmas thing.
So as you could see in the movement, his arm moves significantly farther than the produced model does, and it's also pretty noisy. Now, I don't know if the mechanism is actually faulty on this prototype, which I wouldn't be surprised about, but or it's just rubbing up against this bit of plastic, because actually I feel the crack here. There is a little bit of a crack. It seems like it just pushes on it, so I'm going to have to maybe glue that or something. And that's really all I'm going to have to do for this. Now, the item I paid $250 for, including the donation and tax. The item, as you can see, retails for $259.99, 260 US dollars, and then there's tax on top of that. Now, the person said, "Well, it's a floor model. We'll give it to you as is or broken." Took 10% off, so it went down to like 230 something, and then I donated some money, and then tax it brought up to about $250 even. So it wasn't that bad, and I gotta say I'm pretty happy with it. He also gave me a box for it since that they had to set up a new display, so he said, "Here, just take this box." Now, one issue I did have with it when I brought it home, the pole snapped on the bottom. Excuse me. The I'll just show you right here. That piece that connects down to the stand snapped off. As you can see, it's welded actually a lot different than the produced one is, and that's because I had it professionally welded, because when the person was putting it in the box, they bent it a bit. Now I tried bending it back, hoping that it would do the same that it did when the employee bent it, but luckily for me, it snapped right off. So I know a couple people that weld, so I gave it to them, and within one day they re-welded that. And then they also were nice enough to weld the other leg pole. This way it wouldn't snap ever. So that was the only issue I had with it. And he looks great. He works great for now. Hopefully nothing ever goes wrong with him. We have the prototype clown that's lasted this long thanks to Bailey. And hopefully this won't need any restorations on it, because I really don't want to open it and try to fix anything. Even though most of it's going to be produced, there could be some slight differences. Like this arm is probably very different from the produced model, because as you can see, the movement is a lot different, and the hand kind of like flies down. So if this mechanism in the wrist right here ever goes, it's probably a little bit different than the produced. But besides that, this is basically the same as the produced model, and it looks almost identical, besides the fact that it has straight legs, which is why it really caught my attention, and I had to go get it. Now, this item, I might be selling it. I don't know. But if I do sell it, I want a high number for it. So if anybody wants to write in the comments what they think they would pay for it, let me know. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. That's it for this video, and I'll see you guys next week.